Hi, I'm Bill Bruck, Lead Solutions Architect with Q2 Learning. In the next few minutes, I'd like to share a few thoughts about social learning, what the hype is all about, how to recognize it, and some practical advice to go beyond it. And here's the first piece of hype, social networking. This is social networking. It's software that's optimized for teenagers to post comments on each other's walls, share pictures, and friend hordes of unknown people. Can it be used for social learning? Sure. You can use Excel for writing memos instead of Word if you want to. It just isn't a real good tool for it. Social networking software is not social learning software. Here's a second piece of hype. Your corporate IT department should choose your social learning platform, or your social media, or your collaboration platform, or anything else with the word social or collaboration in it. Now here's a decision tree that may be helpful in working through these issues. Unless you want SharePoint, because that's the only result their decision tree will lead to. And here's the third one, a killer. Self-organizing communities, even large ones like the 8,500-person Learning Town, soon resemble ghost towns if they are not actively tended and managed. Build it and they will come is a recipe for disaster. So what about the beyond the hype? Here's what we think. You start with a model, a social learning model, and then you eat the elephant one bite at a time. Let's start with the model. Here's ours, the Q2 Learning Social Learning Framework. On the left, we have 3 levels of competency. Down at the bottom, we have time. Right above it, we have 3 phases of learning. The first is the training event, the second is when learning is reinforced, and the third is when formal learning transforms into informal learning. I'm going to talk about each phase in turn. The training event is when we've replicated many of the worst practices of learning online and called it e-learning, and shame on us because we know better. This is where our learners are crying to go back to instructor-led instruction because they are so tired of death by animated PowerPoint. So let's give them what they want with social learning technologies. Broaden your toolkits and think about learning maps. Deliver content with e-learning modules or background readings, but then have small group discussions or instructor Q&A sessions with web meetings. Give assignments using Outlook if you have to, and use discussion forums or wikis to give feedback. When you need to scale from one-time projects to replicable programs, choose a social learning platform like the eCampus that builds all these tools in and not only reports on learner progress through them all, but reports on the coach progress as well. Broaden beyond the classroom and transform training events into learning processes by putting 50% of seat time into a reinforcement cycle on the job, where you can create a performance cycle where the learner is given an assignment which they perform, receive feedback on, improve, and repeat the process. To take a simple example, sales training, imagine that the new sales rep gets a call planner on how to ask for the sale. They need to fill this out before their sales call and they'll get feedback on it. When they return, they'll report how it went. The next week, the planner might be on overcoming sales objections. The next week on closing the sale, etc. Perhaps there's a ride-along activity included in the sequence, or an activity where they need to mentor the newer sales rep. With social learning platforms such as the eCampus, you can extend the learning cycle out into the job and manage the entire process so that you're finally designing for performance change. And yes, you can also create action learning teams, communities of practice, knowledge sharing programs, and the like with the eCampus and with other social media. You'll want such a platform to provide a variety of content sources via widgets, as well as a robust social media toolkit such as the eCampus does. But here, let me end with a warning. I started with the training phase deliberately. We trainers have always been good at letting people do weird things like ropes courses for a couple weeks. People are used to our foibles and they humor us. But getting people to use social media for informal learning is like getting them to use Outlook for their calendar for the first time. It's outside of their comfort zone and it requires more investment in change management than you probably think. Ignore that at your peril. So that's what I have to share with you today. I hope you found it valuable. I'd be happy to continue the conversation. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, our website, or email me. Thanks for watching.